Hi guys, how are you doing? It's been a long time since my last video update. I think it's been around 2 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. I've been busy with some other stuff recently, and I have to apologize that probably I still will slowly uploading a few videos in the future, but not as frequently as what I've done before. So I have to apologize for that because I've got some other stuff to do. And but I want to share still what I think is very important, and closely related to everybody's stake. So let's see what we're gonna do today about the. So today I'm gonna do a very thorough review of a recent news and status update of COVID-19, because I just haven't done this for a while. So first, let's look at what's the global status. And we're hitting almost 5 million infections all over the world, with over 300,000. And if you look at the curve, about 2 months ago there was almost none. And I guess a lot of people, except me, probably didn't thought about this virus can be this bad, or this situation can be this bad. Anyway, in the United States have 1.5 million infections now, and the death number is approaching 100,000. I think right now it's 90,000 as of today. It probably still keep climbing, and 6% of fatality rate in US, 14% in UK, and Brazil is also catching up, 6.7% of fatality. In Spain, Italy, France, they're still slowly increasing, and the fatality rate still remain very high. All these facts you guys are probably very familiar with right now. We can still see that we're still in a very dangerous situation. And you may hear that from the mainstream media for whatever the reason. They claiming it's plateauing, it's leveling off, it's slowing down. But if you look at the curve, although this is global, but let's use this as a representative, it's still increasing quite linearly. Of course, if you plot in a log scale, because log scale is counting every 10, 100,000, such etc., etc., you won't see a big difference. But if you look at the linear increase, it's still not looking too good. So let's review some of the most important facts that I shared in my previous videos. So like I said, as of today, May 17th, the COVID-19 is still spreading, although not that fast, exponentially, not exponential anymore, but it's still steadily increased over 20 or 25,000 per day, and roughly 10,000 deaths per week. So that's still bad. And particularly I shared in my last two videos, and if you watch it again, you probably will agree that this COVID-19 virus originates from one Chinese Communist Party lab, CCP lab, or could be several labs. And it may be done through a recombination of a variety of mysterious natural viruses. The virus is definitely from the nature. I don't think there's any technologies can create a virus just by building block by every single amino acid. I don't think so, but there's a technology that you can recombine several different viruses together and selectively seizure the gene segments and insert into a certain virus. So there are technologies to do that. If you're not certain about that, either review my videos on the COVID-19 series for the origin of COVID-19, or you can search online, either YouTube or literatures about the gene technologies. So I think as of now, even we're slowly reopening the country because of the economy reasons, but please still keep strict social distancing and wearing PPE, particularly face masks, gloves, maybe even face shield if you're working in a potentially dangerous environment, and still practice very good hygienes. I think we need to do that until the effective vaccine or cure are discovered. I don't know when, but let's just be careful still. Don't get the virus and don't pass it to others. Be safe, okay? I think there's a fairly good news. If we look at the cumulative death trend or cumulative infection cases, it looks like it's slowly declining. Maybe it's because people are more careful. Maybe because it's getting into the summertime, the UV or the temperature may slow down the virus spreading. It may be due to the drugs, because the Gilead's new drug, remdesivir, has been used in the clinical field since early May, like 2 weeks ago. So then that might also cause some improvement. But I'm also a little worried about that, is about the current situation, like particularly in news, is that, like I was sharing with you before, the CCP tried really hard to cover up the truth about the medicine's remdesivir. So if you're familiar with the news, back in April, the CCP tried to disclose their failed remdesivir clinical trial and tried to say that this medicine is not effective at all. However, the Gilead company still see the hope, because they did a very thorough study and clinically proved that this medicine can shorten the recovery time and may also reduce certain percentage of fatality. So that's a really good thing. However, if you notice the media, a lot of medias, but there's, where they're citing the news from the World Health Organization. If you look at the news on a lot of papers citing them, at April 23rd, a summary of the study's results was inadvertently posted to the website of the World Health Organization and seen by several medias on Thursday. And this study report is actually from the CCP's lab. And it's the CCP try to confuse people and mislead people about the effectiveness of this drug. But very soon, this news was removed from the World Health Organization. So then I still wonder, what's the ethics of WHO? Why are you spreading the false rumors for CCP? Are you representing CCP? So I don't know about that. But when I search more news, and not even news, but also some other fields like NIH, CDC, WHO, and many even scientists and doctors, they also try to cover up the truth for CCP. So the first one I want to share is the NIH director's blog, Dr. Francis Collins, and he said that the genomic studies points to natural origin of COVID-19. If you follow up my videos, and you will see that it originally, like I said, the virus is natural, but COVID-19 definitely is not from a natural source. It cannot be mutated in a natural way. And professors, I forgot which professor this, maybe University of California somewhere, they're also trying to ascribe this virus to natural resources. And some other scientists even say exactly zero evidence come from a lab. I've never seen a scientist say exactly zero, because nothing is zero and nothing is 100%. Even I would say it's very, very probable. It's 99.9%. I don't know how come he can say exactly no evidence. Anyway, and the WHO also says coronavirus came from an animal and was not made in a lab. I don't know what kind of, but if you watch all these news, there is no scientific evidence to support their conclusion. I'm like, well, even there is not 100% evidence to prove it is definitely from which lab, but you guys didn't show any evidence that is from a natural either. And then it's gonna still be a debate. And I favor the truth, which is it's artificially recombined in a lab or in several labs. And also Dr. Fauci rejects the conspiracy theory about the coronavirus was made in a Chinese lab. So you all see all this. They're supposed to be the expert and should be trustworthy for the people's health all over the world. But they're not trying to cover up the truth. What happened? Initially, when I got the news, when I saw all of these news, they were trying to cover up the truth for CCP, I was really shocked because I couldn't believe it. As a scientist, when I was enrolled in school, the first seminars or classes I was enrolled in was ethics for engineers and scientists. So if you search for the ethics for scientists and researchers, for engineers, they said the ethics of being an engineer, you should be working for enhancement of human welfare. You gotta be honest, impartial, and servicing with fidelity the public. Right? Even on the WHO, they have ethical principles about their integrity, accountability. In integrity, they said all the WHO members are expected to demonstrate the highest standards of integrity and act in good faith and with intellectual honesty and fairness. I'm like, in all of your news and reports, I don't see any intellectual honesty at all, because there's no logic reasonings behind these news, but just simply claiming what it is and what it is. And I can't buy it, because if there is no logic reasoning, if there is no premises, I don't know how can you make a conclusion like that. But good that they mentioned about accountability. So someone will be held accountable in WHO for whatever mistakes they purposely or unpurposely made. So now we review back. So I want to emphasize again, but quickly in here, and focusing on why we say that this virus is not from a natural way. So let's review the most critical papers that was published in the Lancet earlier 2020. They were trying to do the genomic characterization of this SARS-CoV-19, and by comparing the gene sequences, they found out that the COVID-19 have almost very high similarity to a bat virus discovered in Zhoushan by a Chinese military lab. I shared this table in my previous video, try to review the origin before, so I'm going to summarize and revisit it again. So what's the most shocking in this study is that the envelope, which is the E protein, has 100% match, 100.0% match with this Zhoushan bat virus. This is very unusual. If you talk about something has 100% similarity, normally they share the same origin or either one is very closely related to each other. So that's why I say that very likely this Joseon-Bat virus is the origin. But if you watch some other news, it becomes more suspicious. It's the spike proteins, the S protein, which is the key to interact with your body cell and then open your body cell membrane and enter your body cell, start replicating and kill it. And it's starting to attack some other body cells eventually as well. But this S proteins has much less matching. The similarity significantly dropped. And it doesn't make any sense to ascribe this change to the natural mutation, because the natural mutation normally falls in a random way. If spike proteins mutate, the envelope membrane, the nuclear amino acid, they all mutate in a similar trend. Maybe plus minus a few percent, but the difference cannot be that huge. So this make it really suspicious. And if you watch some other recent papers, and it becoming even more, is the S proteins have two regions, S1 and S2. S2 is close to the membrane or at the envelope protein, and the S1 is actually the key to interact with the ACE2 on our surface of our cell membrane. And there's a strong affinity bonding between them. And then what's interesting in here is not only S2 protein actually also has very high level of similarity, almost 95% similarity, but the S1 significantly dropped below 70%, which means that a lot of the modification was selectively done in the S1 region. The reason was that this S1 is the key to get into our body cell. If you selectively modify it to make it more favorably to interact with the ACE2, therefore it will make it more facile to enter our human body, eventually infect ourselves. Another interesting thing is not only they modify S1, they're including or inserting a furin-like cleavage site, which never exists in any other similar coronavirus before, including SARS-1. So what this furin site does is it's going to further enhance the infection of the human body cell. And the gene analysis showing that in a regular coronavirus, this segment doesn't exist. They selectively insert in between S1 and S2 to facilitate or promote even more rapid infection of this coronavirus. And I don't know how likely is possible this virus, if it does mutate it through a natural way, this virus is like a super smart, just like a god, because it's doing everything. Every mutation is all favorably to infect humans. The natural mutation should be random. It should follow random walk theory. Some mutation may be positive, someone may be negative, but all the mutations, all the modifications were made to improve or promote the infection. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. And there's also very recent paper. They're still under review, I think, right now. But there's a preprint published online recently. And if you look at their findings, it's very interesting. Well, they found out that they're doing computational analysis of the binding energy, because we all know that spike protein and ACE2 binding energy is the key. The higher the affinity, the easier for the COVID-19 to get into our body cell and infect it. Right? So the study shows that actually the binding energy is the lowest. Actually, if you know, the binding energy is the enthalpy. The lower you are, the higher the affinity. So the humans, ACE, actually have the highest affinity to this COVID-19 virus. And the bat, which is supposed to be the origin of this virus, actually has a very low binding. And the pangolin actually is something in between, and dogs and monkeys, etc. But if you watch the infectivity, that it seems like it's so transmissive, and it causes a lot more severe disease in only humans. There are actually some in vivo testing in bat, cat, dogs, anything. They may get the virus. They're actually not severely infected. This virus only is what makes this thing. This SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19 is uniquely adapted to infect humans. So what does that mean? So it raises an important question, that whether it arose in the nature by a rare chance event, or whether its origins might lie elsewhere. So looks like this, like it also sharing the previous slide, this virus was perfectly mutated, and every mutation all favors to improve the infections into our human body. And I don't know how likely it is by the natural way. If it is, it gotta be a miracle. So talking about another topic, another paper recently published on Nature is there has been a lot of discussions and about the symptoms of this COVID-19 is so weird that there's a certain percentage, at least 10 to 15 or maybe even 20% of asymptomatic or mild symptomatic infection patients. And this study shows that basically after the virus infect your body cell, even in the nasal system, even the day 2, you haven't shown very severe symptoms yet, and you can start to spreading the virus. You can infect other people. So that's what shows this, the asymptomatic or even pre-symptomatic or mild symptomatic transmissions are possible. They can also, this paper proved that this COVID-19 can be transmitted efficiently through direct contact, like a face-to-face or daily life, like between family members, or aerosol, like talking to each other without wearing a face mask, or even environmental samples, something you touched, everybody touch again, and they get the virus. So this paper just basically proved whatever the hypothesis we made in the last few months, knowing the dangerous nature and the fast transmission of this virus. So we still need to be very, very careful. Even the country is reopening right now, and looks like the infection numbers and death numbers are declining slightly, but we cannot lose our attention. We gotta still take extreme care to take care of each other, to protect others. Okay, so now we know how bad this virus is, and I will try to make a comparison between a World War I and World War II, and whatever we are right now. So the World War I was probably the first ever very, very cruel fight between human beings. A lot of new weapon technologies was first adopted, and like a tank, airplane, novel machine guns. Even one battle, hundreds of thousands of people would die of one battle. So therefore, this World War I caused over 15 million deaths in a few years. And people learned that we stopped the war. But 30 years later, 20 years later, we're in another World War II. And at that time, the technology was even better, more advanced. The tanks are bigger, more powerful. The airplane can fly longer range. They can carry more bombs. We have a aircraft carrier to deliver all the dangerous airplanes and bombs all over the world. We have battleship that can kill even more people in a short period of time. Therefore, that war caused over 50 million deaths. And we had over 50 years of peace after that, basically. Actually, even more, maybe 70 years until end of 2019. And the world is facing an invisible bioweapon. Oh, by the way, forgot the W. Sorry about the typo. And I don't know how close we are before we having a World War III. But so far, even after just 3 to 4 months since the first outbreak all over the world, there's over 5 million infections now, and 300 people have lost their life. And like I said, it still continues. Every day, the infection increased by 100,000 worldwide. And I don't see any declining yet. And we don't have a cure. We don't have a vaccine. And we suffer a lot also from the economy loss. And we have seen unprecedented unemployment rate since the Great Recession. We have never seen this bad situation for a long time. So we need to be really careful. This CCP virus has caused tremendous loss to all the human beings. What do you want to do now? Do you want to get rid of CCP? I would want to do that as soon as possible. So what can we expect in the next 12 months? I used 2 extremes just to show you where we are and what possibly can happen. The best scenarios, so the virus can magically go away in the summertime, just like SARS back in 2003. But we know that chance is very low. I don't see any trend like this. Or we just hope, pray, and the CCP will collapse in the next 1 or 2 months. And luckily, they have a cure or vaccine, and we're safe. So that's something we don't know. But we have to work really hard to take down them. Or another 1 or 2 vaccines under development right now will work and be approved by end of the year. So then most of us will be safe. All right, let's hope that will happen. So the worst scenarios will be the second wave will hit us in the fall, late fall or winter, just like Spanish flu in 1918. And if that happens, considering the transmission and fatality, millions of people may die, maybe even more. Or the vaccine development completely fails, or it's not 100% effective, just like our flu shot. Who knows, 30%, 40%, depending on where you live. And then we'll live in the new normal for a long time. Not sure what's going on, but maybe. Or the CCP doesn't collapse, and they have more deadly viruses. 1, maybe 2, maybe more. So another possibility, just like I shared in the last slide, the world may be heading into another worldwide war. I don't know what kind of war is it going to be. I hope people are not that crazy. So, if you look at the best scenarios, you guys judge whatever you believe. I think these are extremes. Most likely something in between. So let's hope something positive will happen soon. Either a new drugs, new treatment, some positive information about the vaccine, about the CCP collapse. All right, let's have some faith. Again, I would like first thanks to G News and GTV, and two great media that share a lot of truth with everyone and try to spread the truth to all over the world and tell everyone that what exactly CCP is and what exactly they did to its own people, Chinese people, and the people all over the world. So we gotta take down CCP, and hopefully we can get back to normal life soon. But meanwhile, as a small person, my week is very weak. So just please take care of yourself and your family. Please stay safe and stay strong. And I really look forward to hearing that everyone who has watched my videos and will take extreme care and precaution, and you will be safe in the future. And I hope everyone safe and sound. Thank you again for your time to watch, and have a safe rest of the week or day. Bye bye. See you in the next video. Please, oh, by the way, please pass the truth to whoever you know, your friend, your family, okay? Thank you. Bye bye.